Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive. Today we're diving deep into a topic that's essential for anyone interested in understanding India's political landscape: regionalism. It's especially crucial for you UPSC aspirants tackling the GS1 post-independence India syllabus. We'll be focusing on Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab, two regions that vividly illustrate the complexities of regionalism in India.
That's right. These regions offer fantastic case studies for understanding how historical events, cultural identities, and socioeconomic factors can all contribute to regional sentiments and movements.
All right, let's unpack Jammu and Kashmir first. This region has a unique history and a constitutional relationship with India that's unlike any other state. I know for a lot of people, Article 370 is the first thing that comes to mind, but before we get into that, could you set the stage for us? What were some of the key historical events that shaped the region's relationship with India?
Jammu and Kashmir's accession to India in 1947 was a pivotal moment, but it was immediately followed by a Pakistani invasion, leading to a conflict that continues to this day. This external dispute over Kashmir's status has been a major source of tension between India and Pakistan for decades, and is a key factor in understanding the region's trajectory.
That's a really important point. The external conflict with Pakistan has cast a long shadow over Jammu and Kashmir's history. And then, of course, there's the internal debate about Article 370, which granted special status to the region. What were the specific provisions of Article 370, and why did it become such a contentious issue?
Article 370 essentially granted greater autonomy to Jammu and Kashmir compared to other states. For instance, the Indian Parliament had limited power to make laws for the state, and J&K had its own constitution. The president played a key role in extending other articles of the Indian Constitution to J&K. It was intended as a temporary provision to facilitate smooth integration. But its continuation for decades fueled debates about its impact on J&K's relationship with India.
So you're saying it was supposed to be temporary, but it ended up lasting for over 70 years. I can see how that would lead to differing viewpoints and heated debates. Some people saw it as essential for protecting the region's distinct identity, while others argued that it hindered integration with India.
Exactly. The debates surrounding Article 370 were often highly charged, reflecting the complexities of regional aspirations and national unity. For you, UPSC aspirants, understanding these diverse perspectives is crucial for tackling any questions related to this topic.
Absolutely. And then in 1989, we see another major shift. With the rise of militancy in Jammu and Kashmir, what factors contributed to this insurgency?
The insurgency was fueled by a complex mix of factors, including separatist sentiments, grievances against the Indian government, and external support from Pakistan. This external involvement, particularly in training and arming militants, significantly escalated the conflict.
So it was a combination of internal grievances and external influences that created this volatile situation. For India, this militancy posed a major security challenge, didn't it?
Yeah.
It also further strained relations with Pakistan.
Yes. The insurgency had a profound impact on India's security and foreign policy. It led to a prolonged period of violence and instability in the region, requiring significant military deployment and resources. The involvement of Pakistan added another layer of complexity to an already challenging situation.
Okay, fast forward to 2019, and we see a dramatic shift in the Indian government's approach. The NDA government revoked Article 370, divided the state into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and sidelined separatist leaders. What were the implications of these actions, and how did they reshape the region's relationship with India?
The revocation of Article 370 was a watershed moment. It effectively ended Jammu and Kashmir's special status and brought it more directly under the control of the central government. The division of the state into two union territories was aimed at strengthening administrative control and facilitating development, particularly in Ladakh. Sidelining separatist leaders was a strategic move to curtail their influence and promote a narrative of integration.
So the government's actions in 2019 represented a significant departure from the previous approach. These events significantly altered the political landscape of the region and its relationship with India. Definitely a key area for you UPSC folks to study closely.
Absolutely. Understanding the motivations, implications, and diverse perspectives surrounding these events is crucial for anyone studying regionalism in India.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground with Jammu and Kashmir. It's a complex and nuanced story that highlights how history, politics, and external factors can shape regional sentiments and movements. But let's move on to our next case study, Punjab. Get ready for another fascinating journey from the Green Revolution to the rise and fall of Sikh militancy.
Punjab's journey is particularly interesting because it showcases how even a region known for economic success can experience intense regional sentiments. It's a reminder that regionalism isn't always about separatism or poverty, but often about a complex interplay of factors.
That's a great point. We often associate Punjab with the Green Revolution and agricultural prosperity. But there's a whole other side to the story, right? A story of rising demands for autonomy and the emergence of Sikh militancy. What were some of the key events that marked this shift?
A key moment was the 1973 Anandpur Sahib resolution put forth by the Akali Dal, a Sikh-dominated political party. This resolution demanded greater autonomy for Punjab within the Indian Federation. It's crucial to understand the context here. This wasn't initially about secession, but rather a redefinition of the relationship between the central government and the state.
So it was about seeking more control over their own affairs. What were some of the specific demands outlined in the resolution, and what were the underlying reasons behind these demands?
The resolution was quite broad, but it emphasized greater control over Punjab's resources, more financial autonomy, and a reassessment of the division of powers between the center and the state. These demands stemmed from a sense that the central government was neglecting Punjab's interests and that the state deserved greater control over its destiny.
It's fascinating how economic success doesn't necessarily translate to political satisfaction. And then, of course, we can't talk about Punjab without discussing the rise of Sikh militancy, particularly under Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale.
Bhindranwale's rise was fueled by various factors, including the socioeconomic impact of the Green Revolution. While the Green Revolution brought prosperity, it also led to increased mechanization and unemployment among rural Sikh youth. Additionally, Punjab's border status limited industrial development, creating further economic anxieties. This created a fertile ground for Bhindranwale's message of Sikh empowerment and his demand for an independent Sikh state Khalistan.
So the Green Revolution, while boosting agricultural production, also had some unintended consequences that contributed to social and economic tensions. And Bhindranwale was able to tap into these anxieties and channel them towards a more radical agenda. This was a period of immense unrest, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The late 1970s and early 1980s were a turbulent period marked by violence, terrorism, and a breakdown of law and order in Punjab. The militancy posed a major challenge to the Indian state and further strained relations with Pakistan, which was providing support to Sikh militants.
It's a stark reminder of how quickly a situation can escalate when economic grievances, political aspirations, and external influences converge. And you also mentioned the communalization of linguistic issues in Punjab. How did language become a point of contention in this already volatile mix?
Language became a proxy for deeper identity politics and communal tensions. There were debates about the official language of the state, with Sikh communalists advocating for Punjabi in the Gurmukhi script and Hindu communalists pushing for Hindi in the Devanagari script. This linguistic dispute tapped into anxieties about cultural dominance and representation, further fueling the unrest.
So it wasn't just about language itself, but about what language symbolized identity, power, and cultural dominance. And this all culminated in a very tragic and controversial event, Operation Blue Star in 1984.
Operation Blue Star was a turning point in Punjab's history. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ordered the army to flush out militants from the Golden Temple complex in Amritsar, which had become a stronghold for Bhindranwale and his followers. The operation, while successful in its objective, resulted in significant damage to the Golden Temple Sikhism's holiest shrine, deeply alienating the Sikh community.
And the aftermath of Operation Blue Star was equally tragic. Indira Gandhi was assassinated by her Sikh bodyguards, leading to a wave of anti-Sikh riots across India. These events further deepened the communal divide and left lasting scars on the nation's psyche. A dark chapter in India's post-independence history.
Indeed, a dark chapter. The assassination and riots were a tragic consequence of the escalating tensions and violence that had gripped Punjab.
But amidst the violence and despair, there was a glimmer of hope, the Punjab Accord of 1985.
The Punjab Accord was a significant step towards peace and reconciliation. Rajiv Gandhi, who succeeded his mother as prime minister, signed the accord with Harchand Singh Longowal, a prominent Akali leader. It aimed to address some of the long-standing grievances and demands of the Sikh community.
What were some of the key provisions of the accord, and to what extent was it successful in bringing peace to Punjab?
The accord included provisions like the transfer of Chandigarh to Punjab, investigations into the anti-Sikh riots, and measures to address some of the demands of the Anandpur Sahib resolution. It was a complex agreement with a mixed record of success.
So it wasn't a magic bullet, but it did lay the groundwork for a gradual return to normalcy. What were some of the challenges in implementing the accord?
The accord faced challenges from both sides. Some within the Sikh community felt it didn't go far enough, while others opposed any concessions to the militants. The implementation was also hampered by continued violence and distrust. It's important to remember that peace building is a long and complex process, often marked by setbacks and renewed violence.
That's a crucial point. Even after an agreement is reached, the journey to lasting peace can be long and arduous. It requires sustained effort, dialogue, and a commitment to addressing the underlying causes of the conflict. It sounds like the Punjab Accord, while a significant step, was really just the beginning of a long and complex process of healing and rebuilding. It's fascinating to see how, even in the face of such intense conflict, there's always that striving for peace and reconciliation.
Absolutely, and Punjab's story ultimately demonstrates the resilience of the human spirit and the possibility of overcoming deep divisions. By the mid-1990s, Punjab had largely returned to peace. The militancy was quelled, democratic processes were restored, and the state embarked on a path of recovery and growth.
It's truly inspiring to see how Punjab was able to emerge from such darkness and rebuild itself. Now, for you UPSC aspirants, it's important to remember that Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab are just two examples of regionalism in India. This is a pan-Indian phenomenon that takes on different forms across various states. What are some other key regions or movements that UPSC aspirants should be aware of?
The Northeast is a prime example. This region, with its unique history, diverse ethnicities, and complex relationship with the Indian mainland, has experienced various forms of regionalism. It's a region that often gets overlooked in mainstream discussions about Indian politics, but it's crucial for UPSC aspirants to have a good understanding of its dynamics.
That's a great point. The Northeast is like a microcosm of India's diversity and the challenges of managing that diversity within a unified nation. What are some of the key factors that have contributed to regional sentiments in the Northeast?
Historical factors play a big role. The British, during their colonial rule, often drew boundaries that didn't align with existing ethnic and cultural divisions. This created tensions and conflicts that persist to this day. There's also the issue of economic underdevelopment. The Northeast has lagged behind other parts of India in terms of infrastructure, industrial growth, and access to basic services. This has created a sense of resentment and fueled demands for greater autonomy and control over resources.
So it's a combination of historical legacies, economic disparities, and a sense of marginalization that has fueled regional sentiments in the Northeast. And then there's the issue of migration, right? The influx of people from other parts of India and neighboring countries has further complicated the situation.
Yes, migration has added another layer of complexity. It has led to demographic changes and anxieties about identity and cultural preservation among indigenous communities. This has in turn contributed to the rise of various ethno-nationalist movements and demands for greater autonomy or even secession.
It's clear that regionalism in India is a multifaceted phenomenon with deep historical roots. It's not simply about separatism, but about a complex interplay of factors, identity, economics, politics, and history that shape people's aspirations and relationships with the state.
Precisely. It's about understanding the nuances of each region, the specific grievances and demands of its people, and how these interact with the national framework. A one-size-fits-all approach simply doesn't work in a country as diverse as India.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into regionalism in India, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. We've explored the challenges, the conflicts, the demands for autonomy, and the efforts at reconciliation. But what about the future of regionalism in India? What are some potential trends or developments that we might see in the coming years?
That's a great question to ponder. As India continues to grow and evolve, regional aspirations are likely to remain a significant factor in its political landscape. However, we might also see a shift towards more collaborative models of federalism, where the center and states work together as partners to address regional concerns and promote equitable development. The key lies in finding a balance between national unity and regional autonomy, recognizing that India's strength lies in its diversity.
That's a powerful message, unity and diversity. And for you, UPSC aspirants, remember that understanding regionalism is not just about memorizing events, but about analyzing the underlying causes, the various perspectives, and the potential solutions. It's about developing a nuanced and comprehensive understanding of this complex phenomena.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that regional aspirations are not inherently anti-national. They are often expressions of a desire for greater participation, representation, and control over one's destiny. The challenge for India is to find ways to accommodate these aspirations within a framework that preserves national unity and promotes inclusive growth.
Well said. This has been a truly insightful deep dive into regionalism in India. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the historical roots of regional movements to the contemporary challenges and potential future trends. I hope this deep dive has been helpful for you UPSC aspirants and for anyone seeking a better understanding of India's complex political landscape. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive. Until next time, keep those minds curious and keep exploring.